There are two hobby things I've been really wanting to try. Okay, scratch that. There are a million things I want to try. But for this video, I'm going to tackle two things off my hobby bucket list. The first thing being mushroom lights. I know I'm obsessed with lights, but I'm like a moth to the flame when it comes to LEDs. I honestly don't know why I haven't made these before. If you haven't seen them, they look like this. They are super cool and really simple to make, which I will show you. And the second thing I've been wanting to do is a resin pour. This I've been actually really hesitant about doing. I got distracted by my dog. But yeah, you'll just have to watch the rest of the video to see how it turns out. I have this pumpkin shadow box from one of my child's unfinished crafts. I think this will be perfect for me to attempt both the mushroom lights and a resin pour on. Also, I've been meaning to do something with this toad miniature from Reaper Miniatures for a while now. It was time to give Mr. Toad here a true adventure. So, of course, I started with the lights. There are different ways to make these, but the simplest is with just hot glue and LED lights. I put down a sheet of parchment paper and started to create the mushroom tops with drops of hot glue. I then twisted the light strands so that they made stems for the mushroom stalks. Keeping the light at the top part, I covered the stalks in hot glue as well. You can use the tip of the hot glue gun to smooth it out a bit. The extra wires are going to be hidden, so I'm not worried about them now. To finish the lights, just add the tops with a dab of hot glue. I'm not going to do it on this project, but I have in the past tinted hot glue with Pro-Acryl Transparents with great success. So if you want to dot or color the caps, go for it. I can check this one off my list. Before I can get into the resin pour, I have to set the scene. Unfortunately, I wasn't confident in breaking this open to remove the plastic covering, which would have made things so much easier. So this is going to be tricky to work with. To help make sure the plastic would be leak-proof from the resin pour and give me something to build off of, I'm covering the bottom area in Vallejo earth texture, or what I like to call forbidden peanut butter. I'm working with, again, some of this dried up air-dry model clay here, breaking apart pieces and putting them back together with hot glue to create a rocky formation. My idea was to have a rocky cliff that Mr. Toad would be looking over on a dark night with moss and only glowing mushrooms and fireflies to light his way. Once I got the shape I wanted and made sure it fit into the box, I started to paint it. Starting out with black and then dry brushing on browns, greens, and white over top. Before putting everything together, I painted the box black. Now it was time to assemble the basing. I glued down some moss before adding the rocks on top. Then I attached the mushroom lights around the rocks and used some PVA glue to add more moss before placing it inside. I cut Mr. Toad here off his base a bit so he would fit better on the rocks. Then I gave him a quick paint job. Nothing fancy needed. As I was working on this project, it made me think about the childhood books Frog and Toad, which gave me a backstory idea. Frog and Toad went out on another adventure, but this time, Frog did not return. Toad had to be brave and set out on a journey to find his friend. Scouring the lands for signs of Frog, he swore that he would never give up. As time passed, Toad became more feral. Now, in a strange land and at the end of a dark path, he takes a moment to collect his thoughts and hold on to that hope of finding Frog again. As his lantern fades, he finds himself illuminated by his surroundings. The last thing to paint was the backdrop. I wanted to keep it dark, so I just blended some blue with black before adding some silhouettes of trees and a few bright dots to symbolize fireflies. It's all coming together. At this point, I could have left this piece alone, and part of me kind of wished I did. But I really wanted to try a resin pour. There are some display and competition pieces that I have put off because I wanted to feel more confident in pouring resin before attempting them. I'm trying to create a barrier so the liquid resin won't come out the sides. And since this was an odd shape and I had no idea how the resin is going to react with the moss and clay, I'm going to add a little extra glue and hope for the best. I picked up this resin mixture kit off Amazon as suggested by a friend. It's said to mix a 1-to-1 ratio of part A and part B, slowly stirring it together. Because of needing to pour it at a weird angle to get it inside the box, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy, but it definitely was harder than I thought it would be. In hindsight, I should have picked an easier thing to try to do my first ever resin pour on, but there was no going back now. It looked okay at first, so I left it alone for a few hours, only to come back and find out that it leaked. I thought I had everything glued down well enough, but nope. I just wanted a shallow pool at the bottom to test the resin, but since most of it leaked out, I was left with barely any in there. I was feeling pretty defeated, so I left it alone for a day and came back to do it all over again. I mixed up the same amount, poured it in there, and left it alone. In the end, the moss soaked up way more resin than I expected. I can keep adding more resin later to build it up, but for now, I'm just calling this done. Small adventure brought to life from Mr. Toad here. Honestly, I love the mushroom lights, and I'm gonna make these again, maybe just for house decor. The resin pour obviously wasn't fully successful, and I made mistakes, silly mistakes. But I learned stuff from those mistakes, and it won't keep me from making another resin pour. Is there anything hobby related that you've really wanted to try? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and remember, every journey begins with a single